Well, let me ask you one question. When was the last time you paid attention to Kazakhstan? For me, I can't remember. Don't mention reading news from Kazakhstan. I bet a lot of people couldn't even point out where Kazakhstan is on the map. Likewise, I bet a lot of people had never heard of Xinjiang and had no idea of where exactly Xinjiang is, up until some Western medias began to report on internment camp of Xinjiang in 2018. So, are you wondering why Central Asia is becoming more and more controversial in recent years? And it seems like a new battlefield between China, Russia, and the USA. Well, you may want to say that because both Xinjiang and Kazakh people have been oppressed by the local authority for years, and they are now fighting back and drawing global attention. This sounds reasonable to some extent, but I'd like to give you some clues about why everything that is happening in Central Asia was forseeable many years ago. Many of you must be very familiar with BRI, aka One Belt, One Road, but I suppose that only a few people still remember when and where it was first proposed by the Chinese government. In September 2013, during President Xi's speech in the University of Nazarbayev, Astana, the capital of Kazakhstan, BRI was unveiled to the world.
Both China and Central Asian countries are at a crucial stage of development with unprecedented opportunities and challenges. We need to enhance practical cooperation, turn our good political relations, geographical proximity, and economic complementarity into drivers of sustained growth and build a community of shared interests and mutual benefit.
At that time, I believe that most of you guys didn't pay much attention to this event, but looking back, why China chose to announce BRI in Kazakhstan, a Central Asian country? Was it a random choice or it was pre-planned? As someone who are far away from the power center, I can't tell but analyze. If we take a look at the map of BRI, it's not hard for you to notice that Central Asia is a core area of BRI, especially Kazakhstan and Xinjiang. There are not only several railroads connecting China and Europe across Xinjiang and Kazakhstan, but also oil and gas pipelines from West Kazakhstan, Uzbekistan, and Turkmenistan to supply China through Xinjiang. So talking about the oil and gas industry of West Kazakhstan, many of you guys must be well aware of that the recent Kazakh protest began in Manchester region, West Kazakhstan, due to the increased gas prices. It seems to me that the recent riots in Kazakhstan is targeting China's BRI, especially if we notice that the energy supply from Central Asia to China will probably be affected by the unstable situation in Kazakhstan. I found an analysis report published by the US Energy Information Administration in September 2020. The first chart I'm going to show you here is China's dry natural gas production and consumption from the year of 2000 to 2019. The orange line represents consumption and the blue line represents production. It's very clear that there is a huge gap between China's domestic natural gas production and demand. So the industry has relied on an increasing amount of pipeline imports and liquefied natural gas trade. In 2019, China, the largest natural gas importer in the world, imported 4.6 trillion cubic feet. The second chart I show you here is China's natural gas imports by source 2019. It's very clear the Central Asian countries are China's most important pipeline natural gas trade partners. Turkmenistan accounts for 25% of the total, Kazakhstan 5% and Uzbekistan 4%. Now if we go back to the map of BRI, you can see Central Asia ABC is a natural gas pipeline from Turkmenistan to China's Xinjiang through Uzbekistan and Kazakhstan. In addition, Central Asia Line D, as you can see, is the fourth pipeline of the Central Asia-China pipeline system. According to the analysis reports of U.S. Energy Information Administration, in the next several years, this pipeline is going to add another 1.1 trillion cubic feet of capacity and increase the amount of natural gas from Turkmenistan to 2.3 trillion cubic feet per year. Line D is scheduled to come online as early as 2022. In addition, China extended another contract with Kazakhstan and doubled the amount of imported natural gas to 350 billion cubic feet until 2023. All in all, it's not overstated if we describe Central Asia pipeline system as China's artery of energy. So no wonder President Xi announced BRI in Kazakhstan 8 years ago. However, recently not only riots took place in Kazakhstan, Uzbekistan also halted exports of natural gas in order to meet domestic energy needs after the riots broke out in its neighbor. Well, this is like a two-punch blow to China's natural gas supply. So this brings us to another question. Who will benefit from an unstable Central Asia, where China has been investing a lot of money to build its energy supply lines and transport corridors across Eurasia? I don't think it would be Russia because they haven't dragged themselves out of the Russian-Ukraine war in the West Front, and they don't want to get themselves into another big trouble in the East, a Kazakhstan that is in chaos. Maybe the United States, because if they get Kazakhstan down, they can put both China and Russia into trouble. In addition, they have already been trying by all means to destabilize Xinjiang for years. Just last month, the US government has passed a new bill banning all imports from Xinjiang. So it's logical if they took another step to create chaos in Kazakhstan. There is proof that in 2020, the US National Endowment for Democracy spent more than $1 million in the country. The money went to PR campaigns against the government and training anti-government protesters. In addition, the US President Joe Biden once met Karim Masimov, the former Prime Minister of Kazakhstan, who has been arrested recently for treason amid violent unrest in the country. The meeting took place in 2015 when Hunter Biden introduced his father to Ken Rakishev, a Kazakh oligarch who reportedly worked with Hunter and also Karim Masimov. But I suppose it's still too early for us to jump to conclusions that the USA is definitely behind the recent Kazakh riots. We still have to wait for more information start to emerge. Anyway, let's get back to our question at the beginning of this video. Why Central Asia is becoming the new international hot zone? Because people there are furious at their brutal and authoritarian government? Well, you have to know that both Xinjiang and Kazakhstan have been administrated by their current government for decades. Nazarbayev became the first president of Kazakhstan after the dissolution of the USSR, ruling the country from 1990 to 2019. And he just resigned the chairman of the National Security Council of Kazakhstan in January 5th. Moreover, there were several riots and protests broke out in the past years, in 2011, 2018, and also 2020. But this time, those demonstrators were able to take over government buildings and storm the airport in Almaty, the former capital of the country. No offense, but I don't think an angry crowd could make it without elaborate plan and powerful people behind them. Similarly, when people in Xinjiang were experiencing severe terrorist attacks from 2009 to 2016, where are those Western free medias who have been concerning about the situation in Xinjiang in recent years? Well guys, I know a lot of you are very kind-hearted, and when you see others are being oppressed by their government, you want to stand up and speak out for them. However, I have to say that in many powerful people's eyes, this world is more about power struggle and balance, political and economic interest, rather than ordinary people's lives and rights. Central Asia is literally becoming the new battlefield between China, Russia, and the USA. Because of the power struggle and balance, economic and political interest in the region. In my humble opinion, this situation will most likely be continued in the following years.